From blue bears and scary insects to real-life cave dragons, here are 22 of the rarest animals native to one place. 22. Orange-breasted sunbird. Found only in the shrubland habitat of southwestern South Africa, the birds are named for the coloration. In addition to orange, the animals can show off colors including olive green, yellow, and metallic violet and green. Although considered tame, the males can be extremely aggressive when defending the territory. They're known to chase off and attack intruders. 21. Palos Verde blue. Found only on the Palos Verde Peninsula of Los Angeles County, this small butterfly has a range that is limited to just one single site. And thanks to that, the insect has a valid case for being one of the rarest butterflies on the planet. It was actually thought to have gone extinct in the early 1980s, but it was rediscovered in 1994. But even so, it is still listed as critically imperiled. 20. Salt Creek tiger beetle. It's considered to be one of the rarest insects found in North America, and it makes its home in the saline wetlands of Nebraska, very close to Lincoln. They grow about a half-inch long and display a metallic brown and green coloration. Not a whole lot is known about this animal, except that they are endangered, with less than 400 individuals known to exist. 19. GUAM rail. Also known as Coco in the Chamorro language, these flightless birds are endemic to the U.S. territory. The animals actually disappeared from the entire island by the late 1980s, and now, after having been bred at facilities in Guam and on the mainland U.S., the bird has been resurrected, but it's still extinct in the wild. Efforts to reintroduce the rails to the wild have been unsuccessful so far. 18. Bicolored frog. Found only in the western Ghats of India, this species has a distinct coloration indicative of the common name. On top, they tend to exhibit an olive to cream coloration, and on the bottom and sides, they display darker hues. They have a few unusual defense mechanisms too, including a slimy liquid they can produce to repel predators. And adult specimens are known to play dead to escape their aggressors. 17. Vancouver Island marmot. No guesses as to where these rodents can be found? They're located in the high mountains of British Columbia, and they are the largest members in the squirrel family, weighing up to some 7 kilograms. While they are endemic to the area, the animals are also spawned at several breeding centers across Canada. They are still critically endangered, but at one point in 2003, their numbers in the wild totaled a mere 30 individuals. 16. Hawaiian hoary bat. Did you know there are only 2 mammals that are native to the Hawaiian Islands? Well, this is one of them. The hoary bat's name is a reference to the frosted appearance of its fur, which has tinges of white. The small insectivores, weighing about 18 grams with a 13.5-inch wingspan. Now, as for that other mammal native to Hawaii, well, that would be the Hawaiian monk seal, FYI. 15. Chorus cicadas. It's the most common species of cicada in New Zealand, where it originates and where it can be found in most areas. You know they're around by the nymph skins they leave on trees in the forest or in the open bush. They can also be heard in most areas too, especially in February, when the population is at the peak. That's when the males will produce a cicada sound in unison at near deafening volumes. 14. GILBERTS POTOROO. While it might sound like a character created by Dr. Seuss, the POTOROO is a small marsupial that resembles a kangaroo. It's also considered to be the world's rarest marsupial, with the population numbering an estimated 70 individuals, which also makes them one of the world's most endangered mammals overall. They're all located in the Two Peoples Bay Nature Reserve in Western Australia. 13. Sao Tome Shrew. Sao Tome is a small island off the west coast of Africa, which is actually a shield volcano that rose from the sea. And it is the only place you're going to find this species of shrew, but who knows for how much longer. The small creatures are critically endangered due to deforestation and to their restricted range. Although they were discovered in 1886, very little is known about these rare mammals. 12. Guadalupe fur seal. Did you know that by the late 19th century, seal hunters had driven down the population of these animals to only a few dozen individuals? By the late 1990s, the numbers made a remarkable turnaround, though, with some 10,000 individuals counted. Found along the east coast of Guadalupe Island in Mexico, they are not considered true seals because they display visible ear flaps. 11. Texas blind salamander. This stark white amphibian is endemic specifically to a cave in Hays County, Texas, where it resides in the San Marcos pool of the Edwards Aquifer. They can grow to about 5 inches long and absorb oxygen from the water with their blood-red external gills. Now, it's interesting to note that the blind salamander preys on a blind shrimp, which is also exclusive to that particular location. 10. Quokka. The interesting-sounding name belongs to a marsupial that is native to certain smaller islands located off the coast of Western Australia. It's a macropod and resembles a smaller version of a kangaroo, although it's actually about the size of a cat. Their puffy cheeks might make them appear cute, but beware, these beasts have little fear of humans and are quite curious by nature. Did you know that when first sighted by settlers, quokkas were often described as a rat or a cat? 9. Ninja slugs. Now, this one is more formally known as a long-tailed slug since its tail is 3 times as long as its head, and it's wrapped around itself when sleeping. It was found in the mountains of Malaysia in 2010, and it gets that ninja name due to its ability to shoot darts at potential mates. The slug's version of shurikens will pierce that prospect to inject a hormone that will increase her chances of reproduction. 8. Spotted jelly. Also known as the Papuan jellyfish, it's found only in the waters of the Indo-Pacific, most notably in a marine lake of Palau, said to be some 15,000 years old. Now, that lake contains some 10 million individuals of these golden jellies. Because they were isolated from the rest of the ocean, these animals lost the stinging tentacles over time and are now harmless to divers. The spots garnish the jelly, which has a golden hue thanks to the algae that live within the system. 7. Pinta Island tortoise. Now, if you recall the story of Lonesome George, he was a giant tortoise who died in 2012, and with him may have also died hopes of perpetuating that species, or so it seemed. Found only on Ecuador's Pinta Island, these giant tortoises are a species of Galapagos tortoise and are located within that chain of islands. But the Pinta Island tortoise may have escaped extinction. Experts think that in the past, sailors may have thrown specimens of Pinta Island tortoises overboard to cut the ship's weight. Those animals may have washed up on the shores of remote Isabella Island, where they interbred with the related subspecies. First-generation hybrids found there suggest that this scenario did indeed play out. And since the hybrids were juveniles, there is hope that the parents might still be alive as well. So there is indeed hope that the Pinta Island tortoise never went extinct after all. 6. Lemurs. Now, there's only one place in the world where you're going to find these interesting primates, and that is Madagascar. Did you know that until humans arrived there some 2,000 years ago, lemurs could attain the size of a male gorilla? Depending on the species, these lemurs could weigh more than 400 pounds. Well, the critters don't get quite so big these days. In fact, one species, the pygmy mouse lemur, goes a minuscule 5 inches long and weighs only about 2 ounces. They weren't discovered in Madagascar until 1993, mainly because they were just too tiny to locate. 5. Galapagos pink island iguanas. Now, if you want to see these uniquely colored animals, you'll have to make a trip to the Galapagos Islands. They're found on Isabella Island there in the Wolf Volcano region, and that is the only place they exist. That's about 600 miles to the west of Ecuador in the Pacific Ocean, but it's well worth the trip because that region contains many unusual animal species, which includes these pink reptiles, first discovered in 1986 and classified as a separate species. Now, unfortunately, it is also a critically endangered species, with fewer than 100 individuals currently thought to exist. 4. Glacier bears. You ever see a blue bear that was not photoshopped? Well, glacier bears are endemic to southeast Alaska, and while they really do have fur that can range in color from gray to silvery blue, these animals are a subspecies of black bear. They were first documented in 1895, but even today, not very much is known about the creatures, including the size of the population or the reason for their unusual coloration. Now, there is speculation that these ursines are hybrids of black bears and grizzlies. What do you think? 3. Tree lobsters. We found that many sources cite this critter as the rarest insect on the planet. Also known as the Lord Howe Island stick insect, it's endemic to Bowles Pyramid, a small islet in the Pacific. Less than 30 specimens of the insect were discovered there in 2001, all of them living underneath a single shrub. Since they can weigh around an ounce or 25 grams and measure some 6 inches or about 15 centimeters, they're often referred to as tree lobsters. Did you know the species was thought to have gone extinct way back in 1920? 2. Cave dragons. Unlike most of the kind, the olm salamanders are amphibians that eat, sleep, and reproduce underwater. They're endemic to the underground waters of caves located in Central and Southeastern Europe, Slovenia in particular. The creatures were first described in the late 17th century. After heavy rains, the olms were washed up from subterranean waters, and locals thought they were the offspring of a cave's dragon, hence that nickname. Known for having lifespans of about 100 years, experts say the olms only mate about once every decade. 1. Brookesia micra. The Brookesia micra chameleon is currently considered to be the smallest known chameleon and among the smallest reptiles overall. It was found on the island of Nosihara in Madagascar and is said to only exist there. It's so small, it can easily sit on the tip of a match head. Adults have a length of about 1.1 inches.